So when I first got my license, I remember there were so many places that I was excited to drive, but there were also a few places that my parents had told me specifically that I couldn't drive yet. And I grew up in the Bay Area, and one of those roads or highways was Highway 17, that if you're familiar with this at all, it drives from San Jose over the mountains to Santa Cruz. And it's a particularly treacherous highway, a little scary, especially if you're new to driving. And I remember being so confused why my parents wouldn't let me drive it, considering I had my license. I had the freedom associated with it. Now being a little bit older and having a little more perspective, I can look back and say, man, I'm thankful that they didn't let me drive that initially, because while I would have had the freedom I needed with the license to drive it, I didn't have the skills required to drive that well. And it's interesting, I'm spending some time in the book of Exodus. We've been spending some time in students in the book of Exodus. And there's a part that jumped out to me that I never really noticed before, because if anything, it doesn't seem like it's a big part of the story, but actually it has profound impact to what God was trying to do with the people of Israel. And so in Exodus chapter 13, God has delivered the people of Israel out of Exodus, and he's now leading them to the Red Sea. And notice this, it says in chapter 13, verse 17, when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around the desert road toward the Red Sea. I find it fascinating that after 400 years of captivity, when God is finally delivering his people, he takes them the long way around. Doesn't that feel crazy to you that after waiting for so long for freedom to come, he takes the long way around? There was another shorter way that he could have taken them to the Red Sea, but he takes them through the desert road, the longer road. But what you notice is that he tells us why, because he said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. See, God knew that he could have taken them on a shorter road, but had they faced opposition, they would not have been faithful enough to continue. See, this is the crazy part about what God does in our lives, is that while he's delivering us, there's also development happening at the same time. That God's saying, I'm delivering my people, but I'm also developing them, and they don't have the faith required to walk that road, but I'll take them a different road. It will still get them to where I want them to be, but there will be development that happens along the way. Can you imagine what the grumbling must have been like out on that desert road? Why are we taking this way? Are we there yet? Can you believe after all these years, God's taking us the long way around? But that desert road is exactly where the development happens. Because see, friends, we can feel this way in our own lives, that when we feel like maybe we've been praying for God to move, praying for deliverance in a certain way, it might feel like God is taking the long way around. But we can take encouragement and hope in the fact that he's developing us along the way, because he doesn't just deliver us for deliverance sake. He's not just moving us from one place to another physically, but he's doing it spiritually as well. That he's inviting us into a deeper place and way of trust that we might not have gotten had we taken the short way, but we can trust that God who takes us the long way will make it worth it as he develops us to get us to where we need to go.